What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. I am your host Joss. As for today's video, we all have our favorite TV shows and movies, right? The ones we spend most of our time binge watching? Well, sometimes the drama behind the scenes is actually more exciting than the storylines we watch on the screen. The actors on today's list were fired for a variety of different reasons, so let's take a closer look at the reasons why. Today's list is the top 10 actors who were fired on set. Let's get started. Starting off our list at number 10 is Anne Hathaway. She's known for a variety of her successful movies, but one of them she wasn't known for because she was fired and replaced. You might remember the movie Knocked Up, which came out in 2007 and starred Seth Rogen and Katherine Heigl. Well, it turns out Hathaway was the first one to be hired for the role of Allison in the movie, not long into filming, and became aware of the details of a childbirth scene that was needed to be filmed. She told the director and producers that she wasn't comfortable with the graphic scene and that she thought the depiction of it was disgusting. She got into an argument with the director because she wasn't willing to do it, so she was fired and later replaced with Katherine Heigl, who clearly had no issue filming the disgusting scene. At number 9 we have Ryan Gosling. Hollywood's heartthrob was also dismissed from a set, but not because of an argument. It's no surprise that the actor is praised for his ripped abs and chiseled face, but when he changed his look for a role, it backfired on him. Gosling was hired to play a key role in the movie The Lovely Bones, but later was fired from set. When he first got hired, he weighed about 150 pounds, carrying around his biceps and his six-pack of abs. But Gosling thought that he should be heavier to take on the dad role. He gained 60 pounds and started to grow out his beard. However, while on set, the director Peter Jackson had a very different vision for the part, so he let Gosling go and replaced him with Mark Wahlberg. You would think the director and actor would communicate a little bit better when it comes to the appearance of the character, but apparently not in this case. Not only did Ryan lose the part, but he also packed on the weight for no reason. In at number 7 is Leah Remini, a well-known actress for her show The King of Queens and her recent movie with J-Lo, Second Act. She's also known for being one of the hosts on The Talk. The hosts seem to come and go on the talk show as headlines have flooded with various people being fired and replaced. Well, Leah is one of the many who was fired from the job in 2012. Apparently, Sharon Osbourne has power over the other hosts and also producers. The two of them often butt heads and had disagreements while on set with each other. Leah was unexpectedly fired from set one day, which made headlines because the feud went to Twitter. Sharon tweeted out that she had nothing to do with the actress getting fired. Coincidentally, Holly was also fired not long after Leah was. In the number 6 spot is Selma Blair, known for her continuous role on the TV show Anger Management, where she co-starred with Charlie Sheen. The actress played Dr. Kate Wales, Charlie's therapist and friend, for 33 episodes over 2 different seasons. The two of them never got close, and she claims he is the reason she was eventually fired from the show. She complained to show management that he, and I quote, was a menace to work with. Deadline Hollywood reported that Sheen admitted to firing her through a text which she labeled her as a C-word. After she complained to the show management, she quickly realized her dismissal was in Sheen's control. His family company, Sheen Productions, helps make the show, so they took her complaints as talking behind the actor's back and criticizing his work. She went on to file a lawsuit against the production company, demanding that they owe her $1.2 million that she would have made on the show if she would have stayed. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Thomas Gibson, known for many of his roles but mainly for playing Aaron Hotchner in CBS series Criminal Minds. The actor had a huge reputation built from being on the show for so many seasons, but ruined it all by one mistake. The actor was fired from set after having an altercation on set with the executive producer Virgil Williams. According to TMZ, Gibson's termination was a long time coming. He was first ordered to attend anger management classes after he punched an assistant director in the face back in 2010. Sources say Gibson was, and I quote, aggressive and verbally abusive for years on the set of Criminal Minds. 6 years later, in 2016, he lashed out and kicked Williams after a heated argument over the script. They sent him home immediately and originally just for a 2-week suspension, but the producers and network decided it was best to terminate him, so they did. Alright guys, at number 3 we have Nicolette Sheridan, known as one of the divas on Desperate Housewives. Although they were all considered to be divas, Nicolette might have been the biggest drama queen of them all. Reports say she constantly clashed with the show creator Mark Cherry, which led to her being dismissed from the show unexpectedly one day. Her character was killed off in April 2009 during one of the episodes, and Nicolette filed a lawsuit against Cherry and Touchstone Television for wrongful termination. She began to air out a bunch of dirty laundry, making claims that Cherry hit her in the head and that ABC fired her in retaliation for reporting the Cherry admitted to touching her, but said it was only a demonstration of how to enact a comedic moment during a scene. The case went to trial, and the director stated that her character's death had been in the show's plan for months. He went on to say that her termination was because of differences and her unprofessional behavior. The trial ended with a mistrial, and the appeals were rejected. The actress was left out of a job and with no compensation. Here at number 2, we have Charlie Sheen. You can't even act like you are surprised to see him on this list. We all heard about how the actor went wild back in 2011, making jokes that it was tiger blood racing through his veins. The actor began feuding with the creator of the TV show 2.5 Men, Chuck Lorre. Sheen took it to social media and began attacking him through tweets and nasty interviews by calling him a maggot and other derogatory terms. Sheen said in an interview that he was showing up to work the following Monday no matter what. Well, that didn't last long, because Lorre immediately fired the actor and stopped production for the remainder of the season. The 9th season continued on without him, with Ashton Kutcher taking the lead instead. Starting off our list at number 10 is Robert Downey Jr. Who would have thought our beloved Iron Man could ever do something that would get him fired from a set? Well, luckily he was never fired from Marvel, but don't think this actor has a clean record. Turns out the actor was a mess before he became Iron Man, and was even fired from set on the TV series called Ally McBeal. The series ran from 1997 to 2002, and Downey Jr. was struggling with a drug addiction. During the timeline, he found himself in mugshots and courtrooms on multiple occasions. It wasn't until 2001 when he was arrested once again for a suspicion of being under the influence of illegal substances. It was this arrest that had him kicked off the show. He was let go immediately and written off the show with no future plans to bring back his character. The producer of the show, David E. Kelly, made a statement following the arrest and said the season would wrap without Downey Jr. in it. The producer refused to give a reason for the actor's sudden departure, but Downey later opened up about it with the truth. Since then, it is clear the actor got his act and his career back together, and we are sure happy that he did. Imagine a life without Iron Man. It's just too painful. At number 9 is Chloe Moretz. The actress has a very successful acting career, but one of her roles was swiped from someone who was just a little bit more famous than her. Back in 2008, Chloe was finishing up her work for the voice of Penny in the animated movie Bolt. Turns out, near the end of completion, she was suddenly let go. Production went as far as erasing all of her pre-recorded work, and her role was given to Miley Cyrus instead. Reports say that Miley was coming out of her Hannah Montana fame at the time, and they thought she'd be a bigger hit for the movie. However, Chloe was later offered the role of voicing the young Penny voice, which she agreed to do. The actress claims to have no hard feelings towards Miley and doesn't like discussing it. So, after all her hard work, she was fired, replaced, and then rehired, but for a smaller role? That girl is way more understanding than I would have been. In our number 7 spot is Cheryl Cole. The actress, singer, TV personality, whatever mask she wants to wear, became famous across the board for being a judge on the UK show of X Factor. Depending on who you ask, you might be told that English accents are one of the sexiest accents to have on men and women. Apparently, the people behind the X Factor don't agree when it comes to Cheryl Cole. Reports say that she was promised a new gig on the American version of the hit British TV show. In 2011, she was asked by Simon Cowell, a Brit himself, to join the judging panel on the American X Factor. However, 2 weeks into filming, she was let go from the show. Reports say she was X'd via text message while on set one day by the one and only Simon Cowell himself. The reasoning behind it apparently was that he and producers were worried that the US audience wouldn't be able to understand her accent. Fans aren't really buying that reasoning, seeing as she was British when they first hired her. At number 6 is Stuart Townsend, the Irish actor who is known for his roles on Law & Order, Salem, Betrayal, and Will and Grace. There's one role he isn't known for though, and that's because he was fired before it ever came out. The actor was cast as Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but was later fired by the director Peter Jackson. Townsend told Entertainment Weekly, "I was there rehearsing and training for 2 months, then was fired the day before filming began." He went on to explain that he was having issues with some of the people involved during his time of rehearsing on set. He said that they wouldn't pay him for his time because he was in breach of contract due to not having worked long enough. Stewart says he was almost relieved to be leaving since he was having some issues, but that was until they said he wouldn't be paid for his 2 months of work. The role ended up being given to Viggo Mortensen instead, and when Townsend was asked about what he thought, his response was, and I quote, "I have no good feelings for those people in charge, I really don't. The director wanted me and then apparently thought better of it because he really wanted someone 20 years older than me and completely different. I don't blame him for having such hard feelings, I would be just as off." Halfway through our list at number 5 is Shannon Doherty. The actress managed to get fired from 2 different TV shows, Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed. Reports say the actress was fired from Charmed after an ongoing feud with co-star Alyssa Milano. According to the Huffington Post, Shannon told Entertainment Tonight, and I quote, "There was too much drama on set and not enough passion for the work." Well, she continued with feuds with Beverly Hills 90210, which ended up having her fired once again for getting into an altercation on set. Her co-star Tori Spelling opened up in 2015 about what really happened, since she is actually the one who technically got her fired. Turns out Shannon and her other co-star Jenny Garth were always at each other's throats, and with Shannon's past of not being so easy to work with, it's really no surprise. It came to a breaking point on set one day when the crew had to physically pull the 2 girls apart because they were in a physical altercation. Tori Spelling went to her dad, who was the producer of the show, and had Shannon fired immediately. Tori said it wasn't easy having her friend fired, but that she still stands by her decision and said it was for the best. At number 4 is Erin Hayes. The actress was starring on the TV series Kevin Can Wait, with Kevin James playing her husband. She played the comedian's wife for 2 years, which is why the audience was so shocked when her character had suddenly died on the show and the actress was let go. Erin was suddenly fired from the show without any explanation, she told reporters. According to James himself, he said the show needed to kill her character off the show in order for it to drive forward. Erin said she was hurt by the whole thing and began liking tweets from fans who said they were boycotting the show following her departure. To make matters even worse, they added someone in her place, not to be his wife but to be a series regular role. Kevin James brought back his former TV wife Leah Remini, who starred with him on King of Queens. Fans have gone on to say that the show is more of a King of Queens reboot than anything, but anything for ratings, right? Alright guys, at number 3 we have Eric Stoltz. The actor was the first one to be cast as Marty McFly in the legendary Back to the Future. Michael J. Fox is the actor attached to that name, but that's only because he replaced Eric during the filming process. Only a few weeks into filming, the director Robert Zemeckis and the writer Bob Gale realized that Eric wasn't the right fit for the part. They said he was a fine dramatic actor, but he wasn't bringing the certain energy that they were looking for. Eric is a theater-trained actor, but still has a very successful career in the film industry. Apparently, it just wasn't the right fit for this part. One day he was fired unexpectedly, and they immediately brought in Michael J. Fox to fill in. All the scenes he had already filmed were shot again with Michael in his place. Here we are at number 2 with Suzanne Summers. The actress has been around for decades with a very successful career, but her prime time was during 1977 to 1981 when she was starring on the hit TV series Three's Company. She won a People's Choice Award for Favorite Female Performer and also earned a Golden Globe nomination for Best TV Actress. She was a household name and was making countless TV appearances. However, in 2015, a story made headlines sharing the real reason that Suzanne left the show all those years ago. Turns out she was fired. In 1980, her career came to a halt when she asked ABC for a salary raise to match her co-star John Ritter. They were heading into their 5th season negotiations, and she asked for her pay to hike from $30,000 an episode to $150,000, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Not only that, but she also wanted 10% of the show's profits. Instead, ABC offered her a $5,000 salary increase. As a result of the negotiations, Suzanne began to boycott the 3rd and 4th shows of the new season, using excuses like old back injuries and such. Classic. ABC decreased her role to 60 seconds per episode, and she filmed separately from the rest of the cast. Eventually, they just terminated her contract out of the blue, and she was replaced with Jenna Lee Harrison. Taking the number 1 spot is Clayne Crawford, who caused a lot of controversy when he was fired from his role on Lethal Weapon. The actor was labeled as an emotional terrorist by fans who made up posters and posted them around LA. During his time on the show, he was always under the spotlight for his on-set behavior, mainly for his tension with co-star Damon Wayans. Enough was enough, and in 2018, Klain was fired from the show. Fox announced his dismissal and his recasting was in the public eye for weeks. Once they announced the show was renewed for season 3 and that Sean William Scott would be taking over his role, Damon went to social media to share his side of the story. He ended up posting a graphic video and image of him shooting a scene which Klain was actually directing. Klain never spoke publicly on what really happened, he just posted a dramatic goodbye picture on his Instagram page. Starting off the list at number 10 is Bruce Willis, who happened to get fired from the movie The Expendables 3. We all found out about this through Twitter back in 2013 when the cast was being announced for the movie. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Willis had been offered $3 million for 4 days of shooting. Problems began when he started demanding a pay raise to $4 million for the 4 days, so basically $1 million per day. That's when Sylvester Stallone, the co-founder of The Expendables, let the actor go immediately. Not only did he fire him, but he also took it to Twitter, tweeting out, "Greedy and lazy, a sure formula for career failure." Within 72 hours of Bruce being let go from the movie, he was replaced by the one and only Harrison Ford. Fans found out once again through Sylvester's Twitter. He tweeted out, "Willis out, Harrison Ford in. Great news, been waiting years for this." People were shocked that he would be let go and replaced so quickly, but I mean, can you really blame them? I don't think anyone in this entire world deserves to be paid $1 million a day. That is absurd. At number 9 is Lisa Kudrow, who was fired from the hit TV show Frasier. That's right, before the actress found fame as Phoebe Buffay on Friends, she appeared in the pilot for Frasier. She was originally cast to play Frasier's producer named Roz, but she was fired just after 1 episode and was replaced with Perry Gilpin. In 2017, the casting director Jeff Greenberg has opened up about the recasting and admitted that it was a horrible idea for him to make the switch. He said, "Kelsey Grammer came in and read with 5 or 6 of them, and our 2 favorites were Lisa Kudrow and Perry Gilpin. We tested them at NBC and they chose Lisa. She was great. However, when they showed the pilot to a test audience, things started to turn away from Lisa's favor. The casting director said they believed Lisa's version of the character wasn't well received. But at the end of the day, it worked out the best for Lisa, who ended up becoming very successful not too long after." Sliding to the number 8 spot is Lindsay Lohan, who was let go from the movie The Other Side back in 2010. Before that, her last appearance on the big screen was in her 2007 flick called I Know Who Killed Me. She was trying to make her comeback and she was thrilled to be involved in The Other Side, however, sources say she was let go because she wasn't bankable. The actress was making headlines and it wasn't the good kind of publicity. At the time, the writer and director David Michaels told TMZ, "Our team simply chose to move on from Lindsay and will be announcing a replacement soon." Fans were shocked, but Lindsay wasn't all that surprised. In the past, she has spoken openly about her issues in Hollywood and admitted that it's hard for people to give her a chance. She said, "There's not much I can do about the fact that I've become kind of a tabloid obsession. I can't change that. And yes, the websites, the gossip pages, and all of that stuff have hurt my career. They're like the burn books of Hollywood." Good news is MTV has recently given her a chance, and the actress launched her own MTV show this year called Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club, which had a successful first season. Taking our number 7 spot is Christian Bale, who was fired from American Psycho. I know you're probably confused, so give me a chance to explain. It was a very weird twist of events. Here's what happened. Bale was originally offered the role of Patrick Bateman, but the studio later decided to hire Leonardo DiCaprio instead. Lionsgate announced DiCaprio's casting at the Cannes Film Festival in May of 1998. Bale was completely thrown off by the news because he was hired for the role but not properly fired. But their new hire ended up screwing them over because DiCaprio wasn't pleased with the movie and had some issues with the script and plot. So over some time, he decided to bail on the film and signed onto a different project. Luckily, Bale was forgiving and the role landed back in his lap. So basically, I'm not sure what list he should be on because he was basically fired through a public announcement, replaced, rehired, and replaced Leo with himself, who was the original one to be hired. So let's just move on. In at number 6 is Janet Hubert, who was fired from the hit TV show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The ongoing feud between the actress and her co-star Will Smith has made headlines on many occasions. The two of them worked on the show together for years. Janet played his Aunt Viv in the first 3 seasons. seasons. By the end of the 3rd season, she was fired and replaced with Daphne Maxwell Reid, who took on the role in the 4th, 5th, and 6th season. The show portrayed a very loving and close family bond, but apparently the off-screen feud between the two of them became a big problem. Smith openly talks about the feud and told Jet magazine, and I quote, "I can say straight up that Janet Hubert wanted the show to be called the Aunt Viv of Bel-Air. The Aunt Viv of Bel-Air show. No matter what, to her, I'm just the Antichrist." He went on to explain that she was constantly demanding things that were just unreasonable. Janet responded to his comments in the interview and stated, "He has gotten me fired from the show and now he's trying to snatch my career away from me." To this day, the two stars have never resolved their issues. She didn't even show up for the reunion, but no one was really surprised by it. Some of the cast members shared photos on Instagram though, and you can't help but wonder if she misses being a part of the hilarious family that we all came to love. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Lori Petty, who was tossed from the movie Demolition Man and then quickly replaced. Back in the early 90s, Lori Petty was ready for a breakout in her career. She was part of some of the era's most memorable movies like A League of Their Own, Free Willy, Point Break, and Tank Girl. So she was pretty stoked when she was cast in the 1997 action film Demolition Man, starring alongside Sylvester Stallone. But that excitement didn't last long, as Lori wasn't a fan of her character and got into arguments with the producer Joe Silver over the writing of the script. Eventually the arguments were just too much and she was fired from the role. Not too long after, Sandra Bullock was brought in for the role. Alright guys, at number 4 is James Remar, who was fired from Aliens. The actor really shouldn't need an introduction since he is such a legend in the acting industry, but I'll give him one anyways. He's been acting for over 30 years, building an impressive resume to say the least, taking on roles in Transformers, Dark of the Moon, Pineapple Express, Django Unchained, and many more, which is why it was super confusing when he was suddenly let go from Aliens. It's not a subject that gets brought up much in documentaries about the film, and the cast and crew rarely mention it during interviews. Remar's first claim when it happened was that he had urgent matters at home that tore him away from the shoot. Here we are at number 3 with Sylvester Stallone, who was axed from Beverly Hills Cop back in 1984. Not long after his 3rd Rocky and his first Rambo movies, he was set out to play Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop. It was in development with Paramount, and the actor was offered the role, to which he accepted. The role was a Detroit police detective, which ended up being played by Eddie Murphy instead. Why? Because apparently Stallone wasn't a huge fan of the script. During interviews, the actor was first to admit that he didn't think he wanted to do the film after all because he thought the script would affect his tough guy image. So the actor insisted on rewriting the role the way he wanted it, even though he was told not to. He said, "Ron told me don't change it, but I took the script and rewrote it as kind of a compromise, where the guy was action oriented, but he also had a wry sense of humor. The producers were not pleased and immediately rejected his new script. That's when he told them that he wouldn't do the movie without the original script, so they pulled the plug and let the actor go." Thanks to him, Eddie Murphy had a breakthrough in his acting career for taking on the role with the original script. At number 2 is Roseanne Barr, who was fired from her own show, Roseanne. How does that even happen? You have to do something pretty serious to be fired from your own show. And well, she did. Her show was the most popular new TV show in America, and it got cancelled in just a matter of hours, all because of a few derogatory tweets. Roseanne went on some sort of Twitter rant where she tweeted out racist and derogatory tweets. Some of them were aimed directly at Barack Obama's aide, Valerie Jarrett. Fans were outraged, and so was everyone involved in her show. When ABC saw her overnight tweets the next day, the key executives were having conference calls with the president of Disney/ABC Group, the CEO of Disney, and her boss Ben Sherwood. Roseanne ended up tweeting out an apology and said she would be leaving Twitter, however she never actually left. Not long after, ABC confirmed the cancellation of the show. Realistically, the show couldn't go on without her, and they said that there was no way of coming back from this. The ABC executive announced that more than 200 people involved in the show also lost their jobs due to the cancellation. Barr tweeted out a response apology and said, "Don't feel sorry for me, guys. I just want to apologize to the hundreds of people and wonderful writers and talented actors who lost their jobs on my show due to my stupid tweet." Well, at least she apologized. Taking our number 1 spot is Adam Sandler, who was fired from SNL back in 1995. The actor has always said that he has no idea why he was fired from the show, but he wasn't the only one. When it first happened, he called his friend Chris Farley, who also starred on SNL with him, and he told Adam that he was fired too. The reasoning has always been a mystery, but now it's something the actor can poke fun at. Just a few weeks ago, after 24 years, he made his way back on SNL and sang a comedic song about how he was fired from the show. He started out with a monologue about how happy he was to be back on the show and how he is thrilled to bring his wife and children with him. He said, "My daughter asked me if this was the greatest, Dad, then why did you leave? Well, honey, there's a reason." That's when he breaks into a song called Fired by NBC. One of his final lines of the song is, "I was fired, yeah I was fired. NBC said I was done, but then I made more than $4 billion at the box office, so I guess you could say I won." He continues laughing at his own jokes and the audience laughed along with him. But like, I actually want to know why he was fired in the first place.